Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles. I'm here with my co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. Our special guest today, and I can't wait, Tracy, is Lori Shaffron. Lori has been in the world of franchising since 1989, but pre-show I heard she was actually a franchisee before that. So we're going to hear all that story. That's longer than I've been in franchising. Lori is a certified franchise executive through the International Franchise Association, a senior director of franchise sales at Rita's Italian Ice. Lori has a passion for mentoring, volunteering, and of course, franchising. If ever there was someone that could wear all hats within the franchise organization, it is Lori. From marketing to operations to finance to training and beyond, Lori has done it all. But her true bailiwick is franchise development and giving back. Welcome, Lori, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, as Rebecca said, we're so excited to interview you today, Lori. But before we get into all of that, mentoring, giving back, how did you get your start in franchise?
It was an accident. I was going to school and I needed a job. So I went to work for a rent-a-car company. And through that happening, the other franchise really seemed to have a liking for me and believed in me. So he asked me to be a partner as a sweat equity because I had no money. And that's how I got started in the franchising space.
Wait, Lori. How old were you when someone made you an equity partner in a franchise? I mean, you had to be a baby.
I was a baby.
Holy moly. So what do you
remember? I was still in college.
I know. That's why this story is amazing, that he saw something in you that he entrusted you to help grow that business. What is it do you think that he saw that maybe you didn't see yet in you?
Well, I was advertising in a penny saver magazine. And the requirements were you could advertise anywhere, but you must put your address, which I did. That upset him. So he told me he was going to put a bench on my front doorstep. And I told him I would help him carry it. And he liked that so much that he entrusted in me to come work for his company and become a partner.
Spunk.
I guess it was spunk, if you want to call it.
He's a whippersnapper, and she reminded him of him.
You know what? That's probably true, Tracy. The willingness to come back and bite, not take BS.
Not back down. He's like, I like this one. Okay, so take us through the story. So what happens next in franchise?
So I was the largest car rental franchise with the Ugly Duckling car rental.
Nice.
And they were based out of Tucson, Arizona. And they had me come out and train once a month for their new franchisees. And because of my spunk, I got friendly with the lawyer in their organization. And we went horseback riding. And she told me within a year, Ugly Duckling won't be around. Well, she was correct. It lasted 11 months.
Wow.
So I, beforehand, went back to my partner and said, I believe in franchising. I want to stay in franchising, but I don't want to get caught off guard. So what we did is, I don't know if the Wall Street Journal is still in paper anymore, but we put an ad in the Wall Street Journal. We decided, well, we could just stay and last it as long as we could. And there were a couple other avenues we thought about. But when we put an ad in the Wall Street Journal, we had a bidding war.
Wow.
And we were able to sell it. I stayed on with them for 6 months to make sure that they were comfortable. And that's how my career started in franchising.
What a great story. But to me, it's the first thing I thought, insider trading. You had insider information because you took the time to build a relationship with someone that was in the know, and you understood that this in the know was vital information about your future and about the future of the company. So you acted on it. I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing. And then to stay on and help that individual, get their feet on the ground, continue to build the business, is almost kind of, in my opinion, a beginning of the mentoring side of you that evolved over the years, which of course I want to learn everything about. So, so continue on. At this point, you have sold your business. You have this passion for franchising. What's your next adventure?
Well, I got a phone call from Rent-A-Wreck Car Rental. And it was the vice president of sales. And he said, I would like you to come on board. So Rent-A-Wreck was based out of California. And he decided to meet me in New York at the Yale Club.
Wow.
And he gave me all of the reasons that I wanted to be with that company. Except I lived in Philadelphia. And when you live in Philadelphia, you move from one street to another. You don't move across the country, and especially as young as I was. So I said thank you graciously, and we moved on. About a week and a half later, I got a call from the president of Rent-A-Wreck. And he said to me, I would like to meet you. I said, I'll meet anybody. So we met again in New York at the Yale Club, except this time we went shopping. We went to a bookstore. We went to a lingerie store. We went to a toy store. And he was getting ready to take me back to the train station. And he said, let's make a deal. And the only thing that went through my brain was, is that Monty Hall? But he said to me that he was going to ask me to come for 1 year. And if I wasn't completely happy, he was going to send me back to Philadelphia in my environment. I was young and naive. I said, sure, what do I have to lose? And 14 years later, I went through 5 regimes, 5 board of directors, 5 presidents, went from California to Maryland, and was very involved in that avenue.
Wow. Just your ability to say yes, like Rebecca always says, saying yes to the unknown. Like what had you say yes? Do you have this deep sense of intuition? Is it trust? Is it, well, if it doesn't work out, there's always an out? Like, what is it that affords you the ability to say yes and be a little bit more of a risk taker?
I think I was just young and naive, if you really want to know. I didn't know what I was saying yes to, but I said I would give it a shot because when he said he would, in a year's time, I could come home, I felt that comfort.
Yeah, I have extended family in Philadelphia. My parents are from Philadelphia, and I have cousins that have never been on a plane, and they've lived in the same home for 50 years. So the way you describe Philadelphia, I'm very familiar with. It's a big decision to leave the area because it's these tight communities. So it's pretty impressive. But I want to point out two things here. One, the spunk again, where you mouthed back off about make a deal. Let's make a deal, right? And you brought that up. You thought it was kind of a joke, and that impressed this gentleman again. So twice you've done that now. And then the second thing that was really interesting to me was this idea that someone saw something in you that you had not yet seen. And were making you offers that were in many ways way beyond your years, right? Way beyond what you thought was within your expertise or your experience. Sure. And in both cases, as Tracy pointed out, you said yes. You said yes to these things. So to me, that's extremely impressive. Did you find in this situation with Rent a Wreck, did anyone step up and coach you, mentor you, grow you, push you, or was it intrinsic and you had this self-drive that allowed you to grow with the company?
Well, I've been a part of the International Franchise Association since 1989.
Wow.
And the organization was very small when I used to go, not like it is today. And they started a group called the Women in Franchising.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go and we would have a speaker. So the speaker that I remember today was about mentorship. And Julia Stewart, that many of you know, that used to be with IHOP and Applebee's, led the group. And then she took a pause and she stopped and she said, I want everybody to find a mentor that would work for you. So I walked up to her and I said, I found my mentor. I said, why wouldn't I go to the top? And until today, she is my mentor and a very special person to me.
That is great.
Spunk. Do you see the spunk again? Going to the top.
Yeah, sometimes I have no filter though.
Well, I think most of the time people would be too shy to do something like that, to go right. I mean, it happened with the lawyer, right?
Yes.
I mean, you built this great relationship with someone in the know. You went right to Julia. Like, I think people would be intimidated to do something like that, most people. So again, it's that spunk. It's like, but where does the spunk come from? Like, where do you get that from? Right? Like, we have people listening that are like, oh my God, I want to be like her. So like, how can they be like you? What is the secret sauce? Like, how can they be like you?
I think they threw away the mold.
Amazing.
That's it. No more Loris.
No more Loris.
Well, you're one of a kind, but we could at least attempt to emulate. And I think that's kind of what Tracy's hinting at. What do we have to do to get a little more spunk, to take more risks, to recognize opportunity, to know who to listen to? You knew to listen to Howard Mandel. You knew to listen to the attorney. You knew to go to Julia Stewart. You knew all of those things almost intuitively, and you weren't afraid to use your spunk to get out of them what you needed, and vice versa, contribute back in many, many ways. So I think there are things we can emulate, even if they threw away the mold, girl.
That's a good breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the volunteer situations you're in. If you don't mind, I'd like to shift to an organization that's very dear to your heart, and you're a board member there, and that's the Holocaust Awareness Museum and Education Center. Can you share the mission of the organization and what they're up to today?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the Holocaust survivors are getting elderly, so they're not able to speak, and they're not a lot of them left. So we have them come to different schools all over the country and talk to students that are giving them an education about what they experience. And today we are doing with, it's called 2G and 3G, which is second and third generation, where they're sharing their story, what happened to their parents and their grandparents. So our mission is really to get the mission out to keep it as long as we can.
Wow. It's so important, especially in this day and age where, we all know what's happening, right, in the world. And then on top of that, the whole, diversity and inclusion and just being inclusive and more understanding. I love that. How did you get involved with that to begin with?
I have a very dear friend that is the president of the organization. And again, I did not know how to say no. So he said, I need you to be on my board. And I
Nice.
said, okay. And I
Okay.
believed in the organization. I
Right.
believed in the mission. And that's how I got involved.
That's amazing. There's such a good, I don't know, let's call it a feel, something satisfaction that comes from giving, right? It comes from empowering others, in this case, in the form of education, right? We're educating future generations about a horrible situation that happened. So hopefully they get it and we don't repeat that
Absolutely.
craziness, as Tracy's pointing out, with what's going on in the world. This is a concern uh, today and in the future. So this intertwining that I'm seeing of the mentoring and the educational piece is starting to come. So you're not just mentoring, you're educating. Um, has there been a situation that you could tell us about where you stepped up as a mentor and you can look back now and say, look how far she's come?
Well, again, when I can't say no, they asked me to be on the friendship committee, which I, of course, did. And there's one individual that sticks out to me um, that's very special. And she really was undercapitalized. And everybody else told her to run, go away, you're not going to make it. And I said, we're going to put one foot in front of the other, and we're going to do one thing at a time, and we're going to see where it goes. Don't give up. And today, she has found financial backers and is doing extremely well. And she's turning the age of 50. And her commitment was to write 50 letters to people that helped her through her career,
Wow.
through her life. And when I got the letter, she told me I was one of the first people that she wrote the letter to because I really made a difference in her life. And there's no money in the world that can express how that made me feel.
No. Beautiful. I got chills as you were sharing that, because this is an example of the fruit that we bear by giving, right? You planted seeds, you came alongside of her, you believed in her the way others had believed in you, and you took one step at a time with her, and she had fruit, right? Her company did well. And then this very important piece of then acknowledging where we learned this from, the encouragement we got, the people that made a difference in life. I think we can all learn a lot about that. I'm just, as you were saying, I'm going, oh, I need to write to that person. I need to write to that person. I need to write to that person. I think this is a powerful lesson. What are your
One of the things I can tell you that Julia told me, and I will never forget it. She said a lot of people are very connected to the internet, and they write an email, a thank you email. They express it that way. They write a text. They write all of that. She said, pick up a pen and write a note and put it in the mail. She said, that goes a long way. You took the time to really think about them.
Yeah.
And that is really a true statement because everybody's busy. Everybody's involved. And it's just like, oh, let me get it done. Let me get it out. And that was really important. And it's something I do till today.
That's so nice.
Note taken, right?
Yeah,
Right?
it's a great point. It's a great point. Because people like to also feel special, right? I guess when you're writing the personalized note to them, like they're feeling special,
Sure.
like what of that person that day.
Right.
If there was one message that you would like maybe future generations of franchise to know, what do you think that message would be?
Never hide, always be involved, okay, and give back. And what I will tell you is that Brad Fishman, who I've known for many, many years, always told me I was the Bubby of franchising because I was always giving back. And he told me that many people now call me Bubby, and Bubby in Jewish is called grandmother. So Edith Wiseman went out and bought me a shirt that said FranBubbie on it. So I will show you my FranBubbie. I don't know if everybody can see it.
It's so
but
cute.
Bubby t-shirt
That's
that
great.
I actually really treasure. So I think the biggest thing that I can offer is to always give back, be involved, and don't stand on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah. FranBubbie is a great way to describe you. I think Brad Fishman and Edith Wiseman were wise in branding you that way because I can see you exactly like that. I mean, that maternal instinct to reach out to others, to make them feel a part of something, whether they're a brand new franchise or brand new franchise executive or more seasoned, you do have this instinct to embrace, and then also to know when someone needs a word of encouragement, needs some advice, needs a kick in the rumpus, whatever. You seem to just know the right time to do this. So I applaud Brad Fishman and Edith Wiseman for branding you this way, because that's exactly how I see you after all these years of observing you at various conferences and events. So bravo to Brad and Edith. And it looks like you've embraced it. You embraced this thing, right?
I embraced it. I said, I'm giving back.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Your story is absolutely heartwarming to me. It really is. So let's talk
It's
about,
really from the heart, though, Rebecca.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt. And this is why it pulls at my heartstrings. Talk about the future. Where is Lori going in the future? Are you gonna, I don't know, run for governor of Pennsylvania? I mean,
I don't think so. Maybe when I was 18 years old and naive, I might have said, maybe I'll do it. I don't think today. But you know what? I always want to give back. And when I go to these conferences, I really feel like I am the old duck. No pun intended, but I started at the ugly duckling and now I feel like I'm the old duck. But I want to give back to those individuals and I still always come back with a nugget.
Nice.
A nugget.
Just an educational nugget. You
Yeah.
always learn something. If it's educational for you personally, business, you always learn something.
Yeah. It's
On
true.
that note, do you think, Lori, that mentors learn from their mentees as well? Do you think it's
I absolutely believe that. I believe that. I also am an ambassador for the IFA, and you're usually used to give a 1-year term. I can tell you 10 years, they're still calling me. They're still asking me for advice. They're still franchisees with many brands. They're still calling me. They're still asking me for advice. But when I need, I'm able to call them and ask them for advice.
Nice? It
Yeah.
sounds like FranBubbie is like the firm. No one ever leaves.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
FranBubbie.
You know what? Maybe we'll add a FranBubbie.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great.
It's a beautiful story. Absolutely beautiful story. So let's get into Rita Italian Ice. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to there and what they're going to be doing in the future.
Always ask me, how fast do you want to grow? How much do you want to grow? And what I say is, as I go back to my relationship, I want to put the right people in the right seats. So I just don't want to sell a franchise to someone that really is not qualified or someone that does not have the compassion. I really want to put the right people in the right seats. And I think that is come across, and people now want to grow. So, they buy more or they tell somebody, because it's, as I say, sales are really easy for me because I'm not selling. I'm telling my story and believing what I'm selling to that person. So that's how I feel, and that's how we grow. It's all in relationships.
Yep.
So when I talk to someone, I don't say, okay, well, here's the qualification. I say, tell me about you. Why do you want to do this? Because it's not for everybody. I can tell you that, the joke around the office is, it's not a hobby, it's a business. I had somebody that had the other day $3,300. I thought they were looking to buy the product, not the business.
Oh my goodness.
So, everybody has a dream and but I think that it's every business and every franchise that I've been involved with. And I can tell you that our tagline is ice, custard, and happiness. And it makes people smile. Okay? No one's ever going to Rita's and say, oh, I have to go. They're excited. They're smiling. They're happy. So that's where I think it's very rewarding.
Lori, you said a word a little while ago when you were describing the people who you talk to and the type of person you look for to become a business owner in franchise. And you said the word, you look for people with compassion, which actually to me was an unexpected word in that sentence for some reason. So I was wondering if you would clarify what you mean.
I want somebody that really has the drive to follow a system and be a part of something, that they believe in it, that it's not just a hobby. It's not just a number. It's not just like, it's something you have to really work hard at. So I think all of that put together brings that in together.
Agreed. So how would you describe the culture at Rita's?
You know what? We all work together. And that's what builds up a team. We have a fundamental book that is actually written out with 30 3 fundamentals, and we have to believe in them. My line always is, it's good to write them, but you have to follow them.
Mhm.
And that's what makes it really very important for us.
Nice.
Well, I got to tell you my story about Rita's Italian Ice. My nephew got married 2 years ago outside of Philadelphia. So we all flew into Philly and then went out to a small town that he got married in a barn, which I guess is popular now to get married in a barn instead of a church. I was so excited to go get a Rita's Ice, and first day we didn't have time, and it was in October, and so I waited a couple of days. By the time we got to one, they had closed for the season. I'm still like so mad that I didn't go those first couple of days, because 2 years later, I still kind of have nightmares about, I didn't get Rita's. So your product is just absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's made fresh daily every day. It's made with fresh fruit. So it's just a delicious product
And
that we
fun.
love to, and fun.
And fun. It makes us happy. It makes
Right.
us happy.
Does that mean there's no Ritas in Arkansas?
We're getting there.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
Good.
I just talked to a prospect, and but we want to grow with the right people.
Yeah.
We don't want to just to grow. I always say we want to put the right people in the right seats.
Yeah. And as you know, Lori, that's what we're committed to at Zoracle Profiles. We believe what you believe. They'll be happier. They'll be more successful. The franchisor will
Absolutely.
protect their brand equity by having those right people. So I applaud you for that kind of commitment, especially someone with as much experience as you, to preach that. It's all about having the right person in the right seat. We can have the perfect system, the perfect marketplace, the perfect location, but if the person that is running that is not a good fit within those 33 parameters that you have, and your culture, etc., they're just not a good fit. And so
And it doesn't matter if it's in-house, a franchisee, or a vendor that you do a relationship with.
Agreed. Oh my gosh, we could go on and on. Tracy, do you have a final question before we ask?
I just want to know. Yeah, no, I just want to know where people can reach you.
I am always reachable. You can email me. You can call me. I have my phone on 24/7, and I love to give back and help any way I can.
Awesome. Do you have an email address that people could reach you at?
Sure. It's l.shaffron@ritasfloralcorp.com.
Nice. Thank you.
Perfect.
No problem.
Lori, thank you so much for joining us today. You exemplify what this show is about, with the passion and purpose coming together about building those relationships and building profitable business. So you exemplify exactly why we do this show. And honestly, I am so glad we were able to get you. I know you're crazy busy, so thank you for saying yes to showing up today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me.
And Tracy, I always punt over to you for final words because you're like the best at it.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. It's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking about something, and it's almost like a dichotomy in my mind. So there's ambition that people usually think is like, being aggressive, or, sometimes it has certain connotations, but then there's also giving back, right? So ambition is like kind of falling up, seeking people that are in certain positions in the know that we can learn from. And that's not a bad thing. And then when you couple that with giving back, you have a perfect life cycle. And I think Lori really embodies that perfect life cycle. So thank you for who you are in this space, and for, learning and giving back and being brave. And what is it Rebecca said?
Spunky. She's
Yeah,
spunky.
spunky.
The FranBubbie is spunky, and I don't think that spunk is going to go away anytime soon.
I sure hope not.
Thanks again,
Thank you.
Lori. And thank you to those of you listening in to the Franchise Woman podcast today, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forge. Make sure to share Lori's interview with others that you know will benefit from it. Like, comment, whatever you need to do. And of course, we'll see you next week on another episode.
Bye-bye.